Shalom, call hello, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, Bahashim Rakakodash, double honors to the elder apostles and elder bishops of GMS, including the elders that came before them that taught us this truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers that push the word of truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. And shalom and salutations to the Aqua that are listening and learning. Okay. I'm the brother Yahshua. I'm back with the WW3 Daily update. Shalom and salutations to everyone that made it to this lesson. I'm going to start right here, going into these missiles, long-range missiles in the Bible. 2nd Ezra 16, and let's start right here. Okay, many words have double meanings, right? Many words are spiritual, right, and can mean different things if you're in the spirit. Okay, a sword, this is 2nd Ezra 16 and 3. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? What do you mean a sword is sent upon you and turn it back? That doesn't even sound like a conventional sword that you hold in your hand. You can strike, you can use those words to say that you struck somebody with a sword. This sword is talking about what? It could be a blade, or it also could be a missile. A missile is sent upon you, and who may turn that missile around? Okay. A fire is sent among you, and who may quench it? Same thing, a missile. What does that missile do when it hits? Okay. Plagues, same thing, are sent unto you, and what is he that may drive them away? This plague, we'll come back to this plague, okay? Missile, 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 okay? May any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench the fire in the stubble when it hath began to burn? Going back to missile imagery. May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer. Okay. There was a such thing as fire-tipped arrows. You dip the arrowhead in pitch or whatever, you light it, then you shoot it, and you can light a grass hut on fire, right? Well, ICBM, may one turn again an ICBM arrow that is shot of a strong launch pad, right? Silo. The mighty Lord sendeth what? The plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? A fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? Okay? Jump down to 13. For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. That's the silo. His arrows that he shooteth are sharp. That's the ICBM. And shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. There's the clue right there. What archer do you know that can bend his bow and shoot an arrow from one end of the world to the other? This is talking about an ICBM. Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. Missiles. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. What can do that? What fire can consume the foundation of the earth? That ICBM missile. Nuclear fire. Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon the earth shall not return again. Okay? Plagues, arrows, sharp arrows, sword. Talking about missiles here. Let's get this plagues. What plagues? Okay? This plagues. We always do this. This is nothing new. If you're new to this channel or this update, then you'll understand this is something that we all do, always do. So lucky. Zechariah 14:12, and this shall be the what? The plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. What plague? Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. How do you get that out of a plague? And their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. This plague is an ICBM nuclear missile, or a nuclear missile. Okay? A nuke can do this. We're going to get a picture of it to try to bring you a little closer, right? Sarah Connor nuclear blast. Images. Nuclear blast. You see this? Terminator, right? Remember this? You see this? That's the nuclear blast. This is what it does, right? Them away while they stand upon their feet, their eyes shall consume away in their hole, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Nuclear blast. All right, so the Bible is telling you about these nukes, telling you about these missiles. All right? Now, with that, we're going to go to the voice of reason. Give you a little update. This is very short, 6 minutes and 42 seconds. And let's listen to what he has to say, and I'm sure that the word nuclear missiles are going to come out of his mouth. Take it away, voice of reason.
Good day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. I wanted to do a quick additional update that are not getting a lot of quote-unquote mainstream attention. So first off, the French are now going to provide long-range missiles, basically their version of the Storm Shadow. It's called
long-range what? Missiles. All right. So these things were prophesied 2,000 years ago because these particular prophets were given visions of what would be happening during this time. Now these things are happening, solidify or bringing into reality what they saw in the vision that they were given 2,000 years ago. All right? And it's all coming to pass.
Storm Shadow. It's called the Scalp, S-C-A-L-P. The French will provide these weapon systems apparently with the acknowledgement that they will only be used inside of the pre-war borders of Ukraine. So very interesting to see that. And ultimately the question is how many aircraft do the Ukrainians have that are able to launch these systems? And then finally, is the French putting themselves in a position where we could see some sort of Russian retaliation?
What does this mean overall? It means that the war is escalating. We need bigger munitions. We need more firepower. And nothing is going to turn it back. Who may turn it back? Nobody's going to turn this thing around. No peace and safety. This thing is going to do exactly what it says it's going to do in the scriptures. It's going to escalate exponentially, and nobody can stop it or turn it around.
At what point do the French, does the United Kingdom put themselves as a participant in this conflict? And obviously that hasn't happened yet, but again, yet is the key word. Now, we have seen reports about Russian casualties in Western media. The Ukrainians report astronomically high numbers, around 200,000 Russian casualties. Western sources that are keying off some internal Russian sources are saying in the neighborhood of about 50,000 Russian, KIA 47,000 to 50,000. So why is the Ukrainians, why are they stating that 200,000, in excess of 200,000 Russian casualties? Why would they say that? If it's more in lines of 50,000, 40,000. Are they including wounded, or are they saying KIA? That could go back and forth.
Killed in action.
We've seen some reports that the Ukrainians are stating that's total casualties, and then some reports say that is the total number of Russian killed, coming from these Ukrainian sources. So again, why are the Ukrainians reporting these astronomically high number? Well, I can tell you why. It is in line with, in all probability, the types of casualties that the Ukrainians are sustaining. The Western media, the Ukrainian media, is not talking about Ukrainian casualties, and specifically, more importantly, the Ukrainian casualties that occurred from June 4th till now. In our understanding, the information that we are receiving, it is very high. Ukrainian losses are incredibly high because of this summer offensive that took place. So what those numbers look like, it's difficult to say at this point. But we do know that obviously the offensive has failed. We are not seeing multi-brigade actions by the Ukrainians. We think initially that June 4th up to about June 15th, the Ukrainians had deployed around 12 brigades, 6 of which were relatively high-end brigades, and most of those brigades were focused on the Zaporizhia area offensive, running from Zaporizhia all the way east towards Volhodar in 3 main sectors. And again, the casualty figures by members of the press that have made it to forward operating areas and have been able to visit hospitals have been incredibly high. Incredibly high.
So they failed.
Catastrophic losses for the Ukrainians. And then you have to look at the shifting population. Ukraine probably had close to 40 million people at the start of this war. In some accounts, that there are now just over 20 million people now living in Ukraine. People have fled. People have gotten out. They have used this opportunity to flee what is essentially an incredibly corrupt nation. Even these YouTube content providers have taken the opportunity to report on this very conflict to get the hell out of Ukraine. It's insanity. But that's what's happened. And again, the casualty numbers that are not being talked about, that probably will be talked about at some point, post-conflict, post-after the war, incredibly brutal for the Ukrainians. The Ukrainians have sustained massive losses in this conflict, and especially the offensive that took place recently. So I just wanted to add that, talk about that a little bit, make that known, because it's just something that's really not being talked about at this point, especially in the mainstream press. More to come very, very soon. Have a good day.
Okay, so we're going to take a quick peek. I want to see what Skeletor is talking about right here. So, Lucky, bear with me. This is full spectrum survival in Houriga. Bad things are about to happen. Russian warning to NATO. Back off or else. Let's watch it. Take it away, Skelly.
There are absolutely massive movements taking place between Russia and NATO. The Russian defense minister has said that the cluster munitions of the sovereign territory of Russia are much more effective than those of the Americans. And by America giving those munitions over to Ukraine, America is the one that is escalating this into world war.
Escalate.
The Czech president, Peter Pavel, has just warned the country of Russia that nukes will beget nukes in World War III. And
you hear this? So the Bible is spot on for these times. We're in the times that all hell is about to break loose, including World War III. Okay? And Americans believe that World War III ain't going to happen here. All right? Now, there might not be conventional fighting like World War II happening here. But what is going to happen as a result of that going on overseas or over there, whatever you want to call it? What's going to happen here as a result of that? World War III. Okay? Not in a conventional sense, but hey, this place is going to spiral the fuck out of control, just like on the main battlefront. All right? Best believe that. In a different sense, all right, this is asymmetrical war in 2021. Okay? So, Slovakia, in the 21st century is what I meant to say. 2023, 24, 21st century. Finish up here.
Stated that, quote, our response to Putin's nuclear threats should be, we all have nuclear weapons.
Listen to the language. Okay? We started off the lesson by showing you. See, they didn't have missiles like this in World War II. This is World War III. It's all about missiles. It's all about nukes. It's all. What is a cluster bomb? They didn't have that shit in World War II. What is DU? What is depleted uranium? They weren't doing that shit in World War II. They were just moving into that paradigm. We're in a whole different paradigm now. All right? They got shit that we haven't seen that they're hiding. They're going to trot that shit out. Okay? They got weapons that they can deploy that you won't even know that they were deployed. And your ass is succumbing to that shit thinking that everything is okay. All right? Asymmetric.
And they are all on alert. The U.S. administrative leader has backed up these warnings with the current U.S. President, Joe Biden, stating live on a microphone. This is for all of the Russians and the Chinese to see and to hear that, quote, all of us take Article 5 literally. 1 inch of NATO territory means we are all in this war together. So what they're saying is that if even an inch of Poland or of another NATO country is breached by Belarus, by Russia, by China, by any territory outside of the NATO allied governments, then it is an all war against Russia.
And what is that code? See, that's code speak. If you touch one hair on my head, then we're all fighting each other. Then it's on and cracking. What does that actually mean? That's code. And what it means is we are going to go and destroy our own shit and get in this war. We will be fighting. As soon as we cause a F flag, right? And the first F stands for false, right? Because this is how we get into wars. Okay? How did we get into, why did we go into Iraq? because we made up some bullshit about a building coming down which had nothing to do with Iraq. As soon as the building came, hey, let's go to Iraq. For absolutely no reason. Okay, let's go to Afghanistan. Right? Some of you don't know that Pearl Harbor was exactly that. It was an excuse to get into the war. That we created that excuse. The Gulf of Tonkin, and it just keeps going on. So what do you think is about to happen? What does it mean? If you attack, if so much as one bullet flies into our country, it's on and cracking. Right? Well, who do you think is going to pull the trigger? It's not going to be them. All right? You got to understand how the devil operates, if you will.
Speaking on NATO taking in Ukraine as a member state.
Tired of spending money on
Slovakia, we'll listen to a little more and then we'll go ahead and bring it to an end.
State, the Secretary General to NATO, Stoltenberg, has said that we reaffirm that Ukraine will become a member of NATO. We, as NATO, agreed to remove the need for membership action plans. One of the official statements at the NATO summit is that they are looking at the potential for a nuclear war. A war to pop off that the Allied members are in a watchful waiting phase at this current time.
We can end it right there. Okay? Nothing is going to stop this nuclear war from happening as we inch. If you can't see the creep up, all right? The whole thing about NATO inducting Ukraine, all that means is we get to move our short-range missiles all the way up onto the border of Russia, okay, to try to get them to flinch. And ain't nobody flinching. All right, the Most High is controlling the Russians and stirred them up. They're not backing down. And you devils aren't backing down neither. It's all going to go down bad. All right? This, their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet. This is going. Here's what's coming to America. Okay? Guess where she's at? She's in America. This is an American skyline. Okay? They know what is about to happen. Okay? They know. Nobody can stop it. They know that the Most High's will be done. All right, let's get out of here. Let's go to Revelation. That great earthquake. That's great. That's great. It starts with an earthquake, birds and snakes, right? And aeroplanes. Here's the birds right there. Birds, right? Snakes and aeroplanes. Here's the snakes in their aeroplanes. And Lenny Bruce, nigga, is not afraid. And the same hour, this is Revelation 11 and 13. In the same hour was there a great earthquake. That's those nuclear missiles all fallen simultaneously. And the 10th part of the city fell. That city is Babylon, the great city. Right? And that great city, what great city? That great city, Babylon, right, is fallen, is fallen. The city fell, the 10th part meaning all 10 FEMA regions fell, Babylon, and in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000. Everybody died. In that nuclear hell. Jump down to 14. Revelation 11 and 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Get your mind right. What you gonna do? Is there a way out? Of course there is. Here's the way out. It's called being saved from the nuclear destruction. Revelation 11 and 12. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud. That's the way out. That's called being saved. Saved from what? Great destruction. Saved from this. Okay. Well, when this, what are you going to do? Lord willing, I'm going to come up hither and ascend up to heaven in a cloud. And you don't know what that means. But this is what it means to be saved. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up into heaven in a cloud. And their enemies, okay? When you're on the battlefield and you're fighting a war, who are you fighting against? Your enemies. When you get captured, taken behind enemy lines, being made to work for free, what are you? You're a POW. So this is the extraction or the saving of the POWs. Okay? Because we're at war. Wake the fuck up. It's time to go home. With that, we're going to call it. We hope that the elect were edified, you brothers and few sisters. Wake up. Shalom.